Good morning, students. Uh, Today, we will discuss the rest part of the essay by Micheal Walzer on the idea of civil society. Yesterday, if you remember, my last statement was that civil society is a setting of settings. That means civil society does not represent one concept of good life. Rather, civil society represents many concepts of civil society. So, civil society is not singular, civil society is plural. Walzer sees that this singularity or the single prescription of our political theorist or philosopher is deeply problematic, and it doesn't solve the problem, rather than it creates the problem. So Walzer rejects any kind of singularity. Here singularity means believing on one conception. And civil society, to Walzer, it must believe in multiple conception. It must be plural in nature. Right. Now Walzer is saying, if you take political community or cooperative economy, then you will find that both these philosophy, political community means liberalism and cooperative economy means socialism. Now both these philosophy, it undervalue all association except demos and working class. Now political community gives importance to demos people. For it, people is important and rest is not that much important. And for cooperative economy or socialism, working class is important, and anything other than working class is not important. Right. Now this is a problem for Micheal Walzer. The protagonist of political community imagine that there is conflict between political communities, as if there is no conflict within the political community. So the protagonist of political community imagine that there is conflict between political communities, not within the political communities. They think that political community is a homogeneous category. There is no heterogeneity, there is no class of interest within the political community. Like that, the socialism or cooperative economy, the protagonist of cooperative economy, assumes that or imagine that the conflict is between the classes. The conflict is between the have and have not classes, as if there is no conflict within the have class or within the have class, within the have not class. Right. Now these are the limitations of either liberalism or socialism. Right. Whether it is liberalism or socialism, they aim at abolition of particularism and its division. Now, let me take 1 minute to understand it. Okay. So whether it is liberalism or socialism, they try to abolish any understanding based on particularism. Rather, they want to give a universal understanding. So, the aim of liberalism and socialism is not particularism, rather, it is universalism. And universalism is possible only with the abolition of particularism. Now, this is the problem for Micheal Walzer. So, this big philosophy, because of their universal claim, because of their, you know, because of their thinking that particularism is bad, particularism must be abolished, this big philosophy do not produce the desired end. And on the other hand, to Micheal Walzer, civil society is more accommodative to all kinds of conflict, whether it is between the political communities, between different classes, between the have class and have nots. It also includes conflict within. So, civil society is accommodative to intra conflict and inter conflict, right? And in civil society, you will find a market, right? So, civil society is against the hegemonic, against a market which is hegemonic. Civil society is against it. But there is a market in civil society, and when the market entangled with a network of association, when forms the ownership, when the forms of ownership gets pluralized, then market will be consistent with the civil society argument. So in civil society, you will find a market, but that market is not what capitalism is thinking or doing. The market is related, it is entangled with the network of association within the society. There are so many associations in the society, and market is related with different association. Market is related with rich, poor. Market is related with higher caste, lower caste. Market is related with men, women, right? So market must be entangled with a network of association, and the forms, forms of ownership. There will be no MNC, multinational organization, right? Anybody can be the owner. The form of ownership gets pluralized. There is no singular owner of production, right? Small owners, not a big owner. Right? If market will be accommodative to different association of society, if the forms of ownership gets pluralized, then market and civil society can coexist. Now this pluralist perspective follows from the lost romance of work, from our experience with a new productive technology, from the growth of service economy. Now this is important. Whether the market follow the pluralist model or market may follow the singularist model. Now if the market will follow the pluralist model, then people will love to work. People will have romance with their work. People will enjoy the creativity, enjoy their own creativity while working. So people will not work for products. People will not work for various, others or for different companies. Rather, people will work to show their creativity. so that they can enjoy their work, right? And in such economy, you will find the growth of service economy, right? Now, if you adopt a pluralist model to the market, then you will find service economy will grow, right? People will serve one another, right? So that, that's how, civil society will get strengthened. Now, if you see the politics in contemporary democratic state, it doesn't offer many people a chance for Rousseau's self-determination, right? The way, Rousseau has theorized the general will, it will be the constitution of, real will, and the general will satisfy the real will of its constituent parts. Now, if you see the politics of contemporary democratic state, you will find this Rousseau's concept of self-determination is vague. It is not clear, right? Citizens of today have become passive voters. They are voting, they are exercising their political right, but they are passive, they are parochial. They are not participant, they don't have civic culture with them. They are not at all like the heroes of Republican mythology. What I mean, ancient Athens. In the ancient Athens, police was there. People were directly participating in that police. Every citizens were like heroes. Right. Now people are not like heroes the way they were during ancient Athens. Now in such a situation, the associational network of civil society provides people to make many smaller decisions and thereby determine their own state and economy. Now, if you see the politics of contemporary democratic state, you will find that people are neither like Rousseau's, people are neither as prescribed by Rousseau's self-determination, nor people are like citizens of, ancient Athens. Here people are passive, people are volatile, people are parochial. Now, in such a situation, the civil society, when I'm saying civil society, I do mean associational network of civil society. It gives the scope to the people to take smaller decision, if not bigger decision. And these smaller decision that will determine their own being, their own state and economy. Now, these socially engaged individual, those who take part in the associational network of civil society, now these people stand outside the republic, right? So, being the part of a state, it is political. Being the part of the society, it is not political, right? And these people, they do not claim for or claim universal, or they do not claim for universalism. These people, they caught up in particularities and look for many partial fulfillment. Now, the people, the socially engaged individuals, now these people, they are not political. They caught up with particularities, right? They don't claim any form of universalism, and they look for partial fulfillment, not absolute fulfillment. Even though they take the smaller decision, even though they stand outside the republic, but civil society has a stronger influence or impact over the state. Let's take for the example of public opinion. Can state go against the public opinion? And this public opinion is created by the civil society. So when Micheal Walzer is saying the smaller decision can be taken, the partial fulfillment can be possible by the civil society, right? That doesn't mean that civil society has no impact over the state. Right. Now, it is a mistake to set politics and work in opposition to one another. Right. So, to Walzer, politics should not be done on opposition to one another. Right. There is no ideal fulfillment, hence, we require many settings so that we can live different kinds of good life. Now, to Walzer, each politics represents one sense of good. The Congress politics, the BJP politics, the left politics, the Aam Aadmi politics, the liberal politics, the conservative politics, the feminist politics. Now, each politics represent one form of good and individual require that good. So these politics should not oppose to each other or one another. Because why? Because in each politics you will find a deficit, and that deficit is that no politics constitute the ideal fulfillment. No politics represent the absolute solution. These are the partial solution. These are the partial fulfillment, not the ideal fulfillment. So theorists who regard market as the preferred setting for good life must not be guided by their single-mindedness, which takes the form of market imperialism. So those theorists who think that market provides good life, then these theorists must not be guided by the single-mindedness. They should not think that market is the only institution that provides the good life. Now, if they do so, then it will establish a market imperialism. And the more successful its imperialism, the greater the inequality. If the theorist will think that market is the only institution which provides good, then it will establish a market imperialism. If the market imperialism is established, then it will result inequality, or it will represent inequality. Only in an unequal or unequal society, market imperialism is possible. Right? Now, the problem with inequality is not merely that some individuals are more capable, others are less capable. So, the problem of inequality is not this. You should not justify, or you cannot justify that some people are less capable, some people are more capable, hence inequality will be there. Hence, there is nothing wrong in market imperialism. Now, the problem is not that. The problem is that inequality commonly translates into domination and radical deprivation. So, the problem is that this inequality, it is because of this inequality, one dominates over the other, and one is deprived from his natural rights. Right. and dominated and deprived individuals are likely to disorganized and impoverish, sorry, impoverished, and thereby stand alone in the marketplace. Now, once you are dominated, once you are deprived, then you cannot, you know, or you cannot organize yourself, right? This domination, this deprivation, that will lead to disorganization and impoverishment, impoverish, impoverishment, right? It will lead to that, and that's how you become helpless and you stand alone in the marketplace. So Walzer is critical about the market. If you give importance on the market, you will establish a market imperialism, and the end result of market imperialism is domination, deprivation, impoverishment, and no sympathy for others. You are alone in the market. If you don't have money with you, nobody will ask you. Now, unlike market, the civil society addresses the issues of inequality by encompassing a variety of market agents. Now, what is the solution civil society offers? Now, civil society also requires the market, but civil society does not require market imperialism. Now, civil society gives importance to market along with other, institution. Even the civil society believe in the plural character of the market. So, unlike market, civil society addresses the issues of inequality by encompassing variety of market agents such as family business, municipal companies, worker communes, consumer cooperatives, and many different sorts. And all these function in the market. All these function in market. So, family business, municipal companies, worker communes, consumer cooperatives, these are the plural character of the market, and all these function in the market. They work in the market. Hence, consumer choice is expanded and enhanced by the group and that are in not of the market. So that if the market would be pluralized, then the consumer choice will be expanded. Consumer choice will be expanded, and these different, consumer choice is expanded and enhanced by the group means different groups, family business, municipal companies, worker communes, consumer cooperative, these are the different groups. Now these different groups who are working in the market, who are not of the market, this is the difference. These different groups who are working in the market, that these group will enhance, will expand the consumer choice, right? Now Walzer is coming to nationalism, right? So you get the sense Micheal Walzer is trying to give. It just give that the market must be plural in character. The market must be represented by different groups, and these different groups, they are in the market, they are not of the market, and these group, they will enhance, they will expand the consumer choice. If such thing will happen, then civil society has no problem with the market. Now, Walzer is coming to nationalism. Now, the quality of nationalism is also determined within the civil society. If there is no civil society, then the quality of nationalism will be very poor. Now, nationalism is expressed in schools, movements, organization, cultural and historical society, right? Civil society holds out the hope of a domesticated nationalism, that is contextualizing nationalism within the family and religious community. Now, civil society is not against nationalism, but civil society is giving importance that nationalism must be domesticated. And how the nationalism can be domesticated? Only through contextualizing nationalism within the family and religious community. So we are the member, firstly we are the member of our family. Second, we are the member of our religious, community. Then we are the member of the state or civil society, whatever you can say. Now, from family and religious communities, we learn that maintaining diversity is a way to sustain a family or religious community. Now, from family and religious community, what we learn, that we have to maintain the diversity. Any kind of imposition that may destroy the family, that may destroy the religious communities, right? So to sustain a family, to sustain a religious community, we have to maintain the diversity. And the same can be applied in the context of a nation. The pluralized national politics prevents uh, radical polarization. Now, once the nation follows the principles of pluralism, once the nation believes in maintaining the diversity, once the nation give respect to different sentiment, different emotion, once the nation accommodates all the values, feelings of the individual, then there will be no radical polarization in that nation. People will not be divided between right or left or center. Now, there is only one thing which gathers people into seditious commotion, that is oppression. Seditious commotion means, just give me 1 minute, I'm just coming back. Yes. Okay, I said seditious commotion. Seditious commotion means encourage noises, right? That means people start making noises, people start making agitation, revolution. It is because of the oppression, right? So it is because of the oppression, marginalization, people start making noises. The role played by the ideological single mindedness is the main cause of this oppression. Right? Now, this ideological, Walzer is saying, what is the cause of this oppression? The cause of this oppression is the ideological single mindedness. The ideological single mindedness is the main cause of the oppression, which also generates intolerant universalism. Now, if you see the agitation, if you see the revolution, then you will find that there are two groups that is doing the infighting. And these two fundamental to their own values. They are not ready to listen to the other side. They are not ready to accommodate the other, version. Right? Now, it is due to this intolerant universalism of ideological single-mindedness, oppression is there. One group oppresses the other. Here, oppression basically means uh, imposing your own values over the other without understanding. So, no state. I mean, here Michael Walzer is saying civil society works against this, right? So the civil society, the importance of civil society lies with its, continuous fighting with the ideological single-mindedness, a continuous fighting with the intolerant universalism. Right. Now, whether is saying no state can survive for long without civil society. Okay, there's some network issue. So it is not the job of the state to produce and reproduce loyalty, civility, political competence, or trust in authority. The civil society contributes to it through its plural character. So state does it, but civil society also contributes in it. The civil society requires the state to maintain and sustain this character. So civil society contributes to the state by producing and reproducing loyalty, civility, political competence, trust in the authority. At the same time, the civil society requires the state to maintain and sustain this plural character of the civil society. So the role of the state is to protect the pluralism of civil society. The state should not tilted towards any one association or setting of civil society. So the state must maintain, if I may use the phrase of Rajiv Bhargava, principal distance. The state must maintain the principal distance while dealing with different setting, different association of civil society. The state should frame the civil society and the state must occupy a space within it. Right? The state should form the civil society and the state must occupy position within the civil society. That is very interesting. Now state is also a civil society, part of civil society, but at the same time the state will frame the civil society. This is just like the God has created us and the God is inside us. So here you understand God as state and individuals are like society, civil society. It must fix basic rules of all associational activities. It must compel the association member to think about the common good. So, what is the role of the state in the civil society? The role of the state in the civil society is to make the basic rules, and these rules are related with the associational activities. The state will make rules for the society, civil society, so that civil society will perform its associational activities. And the state must also compel the association members. The state must compel the members of civil society to think about the common good. So this is the role of the state. The state helps the families through establishing publicly funded daycare units like schools. Now the state, family is a part of civil society. Now state contributes to family by establishing schools. The state provides loans to the worker owned company. The state provides legal recognition and guarantees against unfair labor practices to labor unions. In fact, to Walzer, the job of the state is to contribute to the civil society. The job of civil society is to contribute to the state. On the other hand, right, civil society may challenge the state power when it has resources and supporters abroad, right? So no doubt the state must facilitate the civil society, and civil society should also facilitate by the state. Sometimes civil society pressurize or civil society challenge the state power. And in which situation civil society challenges the state power? When the civil society is having resources and supporters from abroad. Right. Civil society can challenge. A democratic state can create a democratic civil society, and a democratic civil society can sustain a democratic state. Right. Civil society requires democracy, and democracy requires civil society. Both are complementary to each other. States are tested by their capacity to sustain the associational participation, and civil society is tested by its capacity to produce citizens whose interests reach further than themselves. Right? So, what is a good state? A good state is that which sustains the associational participation. And what is a good civil society? A good civil society is one which produces the capacity of the citizen who can go beyond their selfish interest, who can think about the common good. Then only the civil society is just. And if the state facilitates, state sustain the associational participation, then that state is also good. So nothing is lost when we give up single-mindedness. Now Walzer is demanding, or Walzer is requesting, that if we give up our single-mindedness, if liberals will give up the single-mindedness of liberalism, if socialists will give up this socialist single-mindedness, if feminists will give up their own single-mindedness, right, then we will not lose anything. We will not lose anything. So nothing is lost when we give up the single-mindedness of democratic citizenship, single-mindedness of socialist cooperation, single-mindedness of individual autonomy, or single-mindedness of national identity. The greatest virtue of associational engagement lies in its inclusiveness, and inclusiveness does not make for heroism. Right? It's a very, interesting and very, significant, powerful statement given by the Michael Walzer. Now, for Michael Walzer, is the problem, right? If you are coming back. So to Walzer, the greatest virtue of associational engagement lies in its inclusiveness. So if you are a believer of associational engagement, then you must have inclusive approach. Inclusive does not heroism. Inclusiveness heroism. So if you think different doctrines, different isms from Walzer's, as if all these doctrines they want to establish their heroism, claim they are different particularity. Okay, there was some network problem, right? Network disturbance. So if you are devoid of single-mindedness, if you are a believer of associational, engagement, then you must have an inclusive attitude, and this inclusive attitude will not, lead you to become a hero. If you see different doctrines, different isms, you will find that as if all these doctrines they tries to, demand uh, the, power, or as if they want to establish the heroism of their doctrine. So that's why they try to express something universally, right? So that's why they generate some intolerant universalism, right? Now it requires individual active engagement, right? Now if you are a believer of associational engagement, then for that individual needs to be active. Individual must be actively engaged with the state, actively engaged with the